No. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, especially for Jem, Dr. Adams, and Mr. Thompson to be here with us today, sharing this wonderful event. Let me first, this event is called Why Graduate School? So let's answer that question. But before that, let me introduce to you Dr. Howard Adams. He's a national recognized leader in graduate education, student success, and STEM workforce development, and served as the first executive director of the National GEM Consortium. In his foundational role, he helped establish GEM's national model for supporting graduate students in engineering and applied science, and played a central role in shaping the consortium's long-term vision and impact. With decades of experience in higher education, Dr. Adams has held senior leadership positions dedicated to expanding access to graduate education, strengthening recruitment and retention pipelines, and advancing institutional excellence across STEM disciplines. His leadership has influenced institutional practice and national conversations around graduate preparation, funding pathways, and workforce development. Throughout his career, Dr. Adams has worked closely with universities, professional societies, and industry partners to design and implement programs that prepare students for success in graduate school and beyond. He's a trusted advisor and he's a sought-after speaker. He brings a practical, student-centered perspective grounded in experience. His ability to translate complex systems such as graduate admissions, funding mechanisms, and academic culture into clear, actionable guidance has helped countless students and educators navigate pathways to advanced degrees and impactful careers in STEM. My name is Ana Rodriguez. I work with all the graduate programming. I'm pleased to know that in February, we're going to have a topic about how AI is being used in the application process for graduate school. So join us in February, and please don't miss Ship Nation and Ship Con Ganas, where all these programming will be announced. Without further ado, I leave you with Dr. Howard Adams.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited about having this opportunity to speak with you, and it's a topic that I'm deeply involved with. And so let's just get started. We'll talk about making the case. Why go to grad school? And we'll decode some of the misconceptions about it, talk about how to go about planning to do it. And then we want to put some emphasis on why go get a PhD. Why the doctorate? And so sit back and just be calm and think about the question, why graduate school? First slide, please. The rationale for considering graduate education. First of all, just the training itself. It's a different level. You become a researcher and a scholar. And I want you to hear me say that, because most people don't think about themselves being a researcher and a scholar. The scholar thing means that you can write about it, talk about it, present it, have publications on it. Visibility. An advanced degree and the symbols of that behind your name is powerful. We'll talk a little bit more about that. You specialize. You'll be the person who's studying something that nobody else has really done and answer some questions about it. That's what this is all about. So you'll do some things that nobody has. You'll answer some questions that need to be answered, and nobody else has done that yet. And then finally, the earning power. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Next slide, please. These are some titles that are areas that you can go into. Most people think about it just saying, I can only work in a research lab in industry or teach and do research on the campus. You can do those things. but also you become a consultant. Leadership is a very important piece of that. Decision making. We don't have enough people from our groups, particularly Hispanic, Native American, African Americans. We don't have enough people who have gone on to graduate school to be in the room when major decisions are being made. And so we'll bring some of those people to you that we've sponsored through the GYM program and let you know that, in fact, it absolutely works. But before I leave that, let me just tell you about two real quickly. We have a number of people who are serving now as presidents of universities. The president at the University of Maryland College Park was a former GYM student. I met him when he was a sophomore. The current president at Rice was a GYM fellow. I met him when he was an undergraduate. We have a number of people who are doing that. We have people who are deans of engineering, dean of science, dean of the graduate schools. And so they're in leadership positions. That's what we're talking about. Next slide, please. When we look at the distribution of people with degrees, I want you to look at this very quickly with me. When I first started talking about this, I couldn't believe that many people left 6.6% leave at grade school level. They don't even get to high school. The number of people who come to high school but leave without a diploma, high. The number of people who continue on and get a degree, and the number of people who leave without those degrees. And as we go along, you're going to see that those numbers are in your favor. But let's drop down real quickly to the people who have master's degrees in STEM and doctorate degrees in STEM, and then professional degrees, period. If you were in the last two, the doctorate and the professional degrees, you'd be in the top educated people in the world. Not just the United States, I'm talking about the whole world. That's a critical place to be. So you will have eliminated a lot of your competition. Next slide, please. How do you go about thinking of this? What do you do about this to be successful as you think about planning, period? Planning for your life, planning for your marriage, planning for the first home you're going to own, all kinds of things. First of all, just taking responsibility yourself for yourself is really important. That's the first thing before you do anything else. You have to be responsible for this. So you have to make up your mind, because people are going to tell you you're crazy to go get a PhD when you're going to get 10 job offers with a bachelor's. So you can't pay a lot of attention to that. Information. There's lots of information out there. There's lots of information at your schools, in the guidance office, in your departmental offices. You need to go get this information and look at it carefully, read it carefully, and then come up with some goals. I will statement. I will go to graduate school. I will complete this bachelor's degree. I will stay in science. You notice I say I will rather than saying I hope I will. That word hope is a wiggle word. That's one that you don't have no faith in it, but you don't want to admit it to yourself. When you commit yourself saying, I will complete this degree. I'll get it finished by such and such time. I will do the following kind of things. Some people said that they were going to be on this program tonight and they didn't show. So they didn't mean it. You have to do that. Realistic goals and then sincere effort. Where you put your energy, your time, your talent. Where do you put your energy, your time, talent? And then finally make an informed decision for yourself. This is what I'm going to do. So I'll come back and just use this in my own life. I mean, I didn't think I was going to go to college, and I found out I'd made a mistake. So it's okay to say, I made a mistake on that. So I quit a job that people told me I was crazy to quit a job to go to college. And those same people that they tell me, God, you've been lucky. No, I quit a job to go to college. And I went on and got a PhD. And people kept telling me I was crazy. Now they're trying to tell me I was lucky. So you have to make good decisions about this. So you make an informed decision about your life. Next slide, please. really, when you start talking about planning, the first thing is you have to have a purpose. And so that's your why. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I? And so where am I going to do this? Where do I want to be in the future? And so then you come back and pick that up and you say, all right, the goal is the why. The action step is actually you put together some tasks that have to be done, expectations of outcomes, and then finally the milestones. How do you know you're getting there? So you have to say, by the end of such and such a month, I got to have this done. I'm working on a book now as we speak. I'm writing another book and it's taking longer than I thought it was going to take, but I had a goal of when I had to have it finished. And so I'm working very hard to be able to put this thing out because if I get it out at the right kind of time, my family is going to buy it when they have a family reunion in July. So that's a big thing to have it behind you. The reason that I'm doing it, that checkpoint for the milestones. Next one, please. All right, now, when you look back over your life, and I'm trying to ask you to put advanced studies in it. I'm asking you to put graduate school in this scenario. So my education goal is finish my undergraduate degree or finish my master's degree if you're sitting in the master's. And the next thing on my list is to go get a PhD. Developmental goals. Where do I have some weaknesses? I haven't read enough. I don't write as well as I should. There are lots of kind of things you have to ask yourself. My career goals. I always wanted to be in charge. I didn't know what my career was going to be, but I knew I wanted to be in charge since I was 10 years old. I have always known I wanted to be in charge. So you have your personal reason, your personal goals. Okay. Do you want a family? You see those on the other side. What about your finances? How do you talk about your finances? Where do I want to be at the time that I can retire? After I have worked 40 years, 35 years. Health goals. I'm 85 years old. And people look at me and say, God, you look good. I said, I had planned to look good when I got 85. So I took good care of myself. I walk every day. I walk every day. Okay. Family goals. I got a fantastic wife. She has a PhD, got a fantastic daughter. She has a PhD. In fact, we joke and say when the phone rings and all of us are here, somebody said, may I speak with Dr. Adams? We have to ask, which one do you want? Because everybody here has one of those. So you have to, this is fun. Fun with the family, fun going on vacation, fun going out to dinner on Friday night, Saturday, whatever you want to do. And then celebration goals. What is it we're going to celebrate? Our first house. Okay. We had a goal, you don't pay rent. So most everybody that I know that graduated with me with a bachelor's bought a brand new car and moved into an apartment. We bought a beat up car and bought our first house. So we have never had to rent. So those are some things that you want to ask yourself. And I want you to keep all those in mind, but primarily education goals, your developmental goals, your career goals, and then you look over here and say, what is that? Why am I doing this? But that's about my financial goals, my health, my family, celebrations. Next goal, next one, please. I want to talk to you quickly about the PhD. PhD. And so I always ask students to close your eyes and say your whole name and put PhD behind it. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. Howard Glenn Adams, PhD. Every time I hear that, it sounds good. It don't get old at all. When I see it on things that I've written, it makes me feel really good. So I have a joke about that and then I'll move on. I tease them, I say, the young lady I tried to take to the movie when we were in the 8th grade, we were just going to meet at the movie and I had my money for the popcorn and the Pepsi and everything. And she turned me down. She said, no, she don't want to go to the movie with me. So, all right. And so 30 years rolled by and we went back for our 30th high school reunion and I was the speaker. Dr. Howard G. Adams, PhD. And I had my wife with me, Dr. Eloise Christine Davis Adams, PhD. And so I walked over to her and told her, I said, hey, I've been looking for you. Do you remember me? She said, yeah, everybody know you. I said, no, I don't mean that way. Do you remember you turned me down for a date in the 8th grade? Guess what she said? I didn't know you were going to be that successful. You never know. You never know. So the PhD has changed my life. I've had good jobs. I'm retired from the University of Notre Dame. I've been retired since 1995, which is a long time to enjoy your retirement. Okay. This has been absolute fun. My wife is retired, so we just, and my daughter's gone, so she's doing okay. So this is fantastic. And so let's look at this. The next slide will show you about climbing the ladder based on degrees. Next slide. Skip that one. Okay, I do want to say this, and then I'll get to those. When you ask yourself, well, what difference does it make? So first of all, when you tell people that you have a PhD in engineering, biology, chemistry, physics, the first thing they're going to say, wow, you must be smart. And you might not be as smart as they think you are, but don't tell nobody. Just go ahead and enjoy that. It provides evidence that you can do independent research, independent thinking, that you are competent in your particular field. You know something about your field that other folk don't know. And it places you at the top of the echelons of leadership. You got people who, you saw that, people who didn't finish high school, you left them behind. You have already left them behind. If you're here on this program tonight, you left them behind. Okay, they went to high school, but they quit at that state. They didn't go to college. You left them behind. Okay, if you get this bachelor's degree and the people who didn't finish, you will have left them behind. So as you move up, you're eliminating some of the competition that you have to compete against. And I'm asking you to step it up to the top with a PhD or an MD or a JD, some kind of D behind your name, and leave people behind. You're in a select group of folks. Next slide. How are we doing? Are we doing all right? Okay, skip that one. Next slide, please. All right. Now, you're sitting there trying to decide to yourself, where do I fit in this though? Because this sounds like this, I hear that this is hard. It is. I'm not going to kid you. I didn't know I had to write as much as I didn't know I could do all that. But I learned how to do it, convinced myself I could. And so I'm telling you now that I'm working on my 5th book. I have written and published 4 books, a whole lot of publications to help people. I got 15 of those. And a little check comes in the mail when you have books to sell. So that's not a bad life. You go to the mailbox and here's your, you can have them printed, and as they sell over time, about every quarter, they send you a little check in the mail, tell you how many books they sold of yours. That's fun. That's fun. And it's good. So you're sitting there now trying to decide where you want to fall. And most people fall in that normal category, and they let their mouths say, that's what everybody else does. So I want you to not use that word, because you don't have no business. If you can do math, chemistry, physics, mathematics, and write, you're a little bit better than normal, because most people can't answer that question. So you step it up, because I had a potential to be better than that. And you get there. That's a high place. But you could be exceptional. You could do some things that nobody else could do. And so you would have eliminated a whole lot more people. 2 more slides, and then we'll end this up with a little summary. Next slide. Now, this is what you hear. You hear there's a lot of work. It is. But you can do that. 50% of the people who start PhDs don't finish them. You have to say they're not talking about me. Let me get in with the group at 50% or whatever it is that finish. I want to be in that group. It's going to be difficult for me to survive on a TARA fellowship. Okay? It won't be the same as if you were making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. But we have fellowships that pay anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 a year for you to go to school plus your tuition. So depending upon how you cut yourself back, you can survive on that. When I went to Syracuse, my assistantship was $200 a month. So I had to get a little part-time job. But we survived off of that. My wife, she was working on a master's, so she had her little money coming in. I had mine. After she got that, then she went to work full-time. So you can survive on that. I might have trouble finding a job of my dreams. Okay? That's the job that you're dreaming about now. When you get your PhD, you wouldn't want that job anymore. I thought I wanted to be a high school biology teacher. And I did that for 3 years. I realized that wasn't what I really wanted to do. So you step it up and do something else. And it was nothing wrong with the job. There's nothing wrong with teaching biology. That wasn't what I wanted to do, though. But I could change my mind. I want you to hear that. And then the last two. Let's go. Luck has little to do with success. You make your luck. People will say, I was real lucky I met Howard Adams, or I met Dr. So-and-so, or I met so-and-so. You were in the right place to meet them. So you helped your luck out. I watch people get on the plane and go to sleep, and they don't talk to the person they're sitting beside. And I saw them laugh and say, you could be sitting beside somebody who could give you some luck and help you with success if you wake up and talk to them. Organizing for luck. Communicating. Who are you talking to? Who are you getting your information from? What are you reading? And then finally, acting on it. What kind of actions are you taking? Do you come to class every day and be there on time? Where do you sit in the classroom? I sort of laugh and tell students having taught, I knew more people in the first 3 or 4 rows than I did in the ones in the back. And I liked all of them. I just didn't pay much attention to them. I didn't look at them as much. So that's part of the things you have to act, your actions. And then how do I assess where I am on a given day? And be honest with you. Today, I was supposed to write a whole lot today. And I didn't get as much done as I was supposed to. And so at the end of the evening, I got to tell myself, you got to do better than that tomorrow. And so I got to start early tomorrow and write longer to make up for that. So you have to assess daily what you're doing. And finally, I think we got one more, skip that one. Your degrees, your education provides distinguishing credentials. And so when you get this bachelor's degree, it's different from a high school diploma. Believe you me, when you get a master's, it's different from a bachelor's. It broadens career options. You have more choices. You're going to hear that it narrows it, but it doesn't. It narrows for things that you could have done. There are a whole lot more jobs working for McDonald's than they are doing what I'm doing. Yes. So that's true. But I don't want to work at McDonald's anymore. So they're not talking about me. It requires you to be a faculty or a researcher on college campus. Yes. But do you really know what they do? Do you know how much time and freedom they have? So talk to some professors and find out exactly what they do and how did they go about doing it, and what would they recommend that you do to prepare yourself to not even make the mistakes that they made. You can ask me that kind of question. You We need you. We need you all. We need you all in leadership positions. If you listen to the news, you see who's making the decisions, and we're not there. It's hard in this particular climate that we're in there. It's hard to find any of us there. We're not there. And so that's something that we have to work on. And then finally, the training that you get opens up things for your life, but it prepares you to keep advancing all of the time because you're going to read different from what you're reading now. You're going to view things differently from what you're doing now. And so I hope very much that you all will pay attention to this, listen to everything else. They're going to tell you how to fill out a good application. We're going to tell you how to pay for it. We're going to tell you where, some of the places that you might go, all of those kind of good things. Yes. But you're going to have to go back and make up your mind in how you're going to use this information. I have a slide up there with my contact information, I think. Next slide. Skip that one. Oh, skip all that.
Okay. I'm jumping to the, I'm gonna jump to the back.
Oh, there you go. Can you center that a little bit better?
What I can do is I could share your contact information with everybody who's interested
Okay.
in reaching out.
All right. That's very good. Well, listen, I enjoyed the opportunity to talk with you. Obviously, students, I want them to hear I'm available to you. If you'll drop me an email note or a text and let me know what you want to talk about, and then I'll give you a time back that you can get in touch with me. But I'm available to you. So don't go away thinking I sure would like to have asked the questions. You can still get that done. Thank you all very much for inviting me to do this tonight. It's been a long time. I used to come to you all's conference all of the time.
Yes.
I haven't been in a long time.
No,
but
thank you, Dr. Adams. We so appreciate the time that you have given us. Please, if anybody has any questions, unmute yourselves, connect with the speakers and with Jem, please. Feel free. This is a safe space. Susan, can we stop recording, please?